We now know much more today about the violent history of the man who gunned down his ex-girlfriend and an Arlington police officer. We also are learning more about the moments just before and after his deadly rampage at an Arlington apartment complex Tuesday night. Fox 4's Phil Alvarado begins our coverage in Arlington. Phil.
Well, Heather, we are at the South Police Station where Officer Jillian Smith worked, and as you can see, there's been a steady stream of people coming today to pile more and more flowers on the squad car in her memory. Moments ago, members of her family came here to pay some of their respects as well and to observe the car and see just the kind of outpouring that there's been here from the community. Today, we talked to the parents of Kimberly Carter, the ex-girlfriend who was murdered, and we are finding some chilling details of what happened that night of the shooting. Barnes Samuel Nettle was a bomb waiting to explode.
He looked me straight in my eyes and told me he was going to kill me, my daughter, my husband, our family, with a smile on his face.
Tuesday night, Nettle shot and killed Arlington police officer Jillian Smith and his ex-girlfriend, Kimberly Carter. Her 11-year-old daughter was shielded and saved from the gunfire by Officer Smith. Carter's family says Nettles had a savage history of abuse against their daughter.
He choked her once as she passed out. He tried to drown her in the bathtub.
That was in Tacoma, Washington. The violence continued when Nettles followed Kimberly Carter to Arlington in August of last year.
He beat her in the head with the butt of his gun, the handle of his gun or what have you. And she passed out and woke up in a pool of blood. And there was a time when he put the gun in her mouth and said he was going to blow her brains out.
After Leah Richardson found out Nettles was a registered sex offender, she tried to break up the relationship. Police affidavits show in September, Nettles turned his anger on Carter's mother and her sister. Leah Richardson says Nettles choked her and tried to throw her over the railing on the stairs to her daughter's apartment. Tuesday night, the Richardsons got a frantic text from their 11-year-old granddaughter.
And my wife had received a similar email that said, "Please come, Grandma."
Willie Richardson called his daughter. Nettles had been over. They fought. Nettles bit Kimberly Carter on the cheek and she was bleeding. Nettles had gone, so Richardson told his daughter to call 911, and he was on his way over to bring her home. Willie and Leah Richardson arrived at the apartment complex, relieved to see there was a police car in the parking lot. But they could not imagine what they were about to discover as they saw Nettles going up the stairs to their daughter's apartment.
We parked the car. We came straight on upstairs. We're talking a minute here.
They opened the door and found absolute horror.
The officer was laying on the floor. We can see that it had been a struggle because we've seen broken glass, and we could see blood.
But no sign of their daughter or granddaughter.
I think that the incident had already occurred, and I think he was sitting outside in his vehicle waiting. This is what I think. And when he seen us, I think he was waiting on us to come in the apartment so he could take us out as well.
Now, those are the kinds of details that police investigators are trying to work out. Police also tell us that the 11-year-old granddaughter was able to escape and make it safely to a neighbor. And her grandparents tell us today that she is doing as well as she can considering what she's experienced, but she wants to come out here eventually and lay flowers herself on the squad car in memory of Officer Jillian Smith. And she says that maybe someday she can maybe meet Officer Smith's family and even send a letter thanking them for laying down her life to save her. Phil Alvarado, Fox 4 News.
Here again now a closer look at the timeline of Tuesday night's tragedy. It started when Kim Carter's 11-year-old daughter text messaged her grandparents to please come because Barnes Nettles was beating her mother. Then around 7:30, Carter called police. A half hour later, Officer Jillian Smith arrived. Later, Carter's parents arrived and spotted the police cruiser and Nettles in the parking lot. Nettles went upstairs. The parents then followed him. When the parents got into the apartment, they saw Officer Smith on the floor. At about 8:20, police received a 911 call from the parents, and within a few minutes, additional officers were there on the scene. And we are learning even more today about fallen Officer Jillian Smith through her family. Fox 4's Sean Rabb joining us now with that part of the story. Sean.
The family, Heather, graciously giving us a glimpse into the personal life of Jillian Michelle Smith, a life sacrificed serving the public. Snapshots in time of Jillian Michelle Smith shared by her family, her life before and outside of law enforcement. The infectious smile, it seems, a lifelong fixture. Her uncle reading a letter written to Jillian by her older sister of 2 years, Jessica.
Jill, the bond between us is so strong, no one could ever take that away from us. We have shared every moment of our lives together, and they are the best moments ever. We have cried, laughed, shopped, and enjoyed every minute. You were my best friend, and no one will ever fill your shoes. You were a great sister and an aunt to Cameron. I love you now and always.
The Arlington police chaplain was at the Mount Olive Church planning next Tuesday's funeral, where 3,000 plus are expected, and citizen tributes continue on the squad car representing Smith. Strangers bringing flowers, compelled to pay respects. Friends leave handwritten messages and a piece of their heart with them. And at next week's funeral, law enforcement from across Texas and the region expected to pour into Arlington to pay their respects. Sean Rabb, Fox 4 News.
Officer Jillian Smith will be remembered Monday evening at a candlelight vigil at Mount Olive Baptist Church in Arlington. It begins at 6. It is followed by a wake at 6:30. Then her family, friends, and fellow officers will come together 11 a.m. Tuesday at Mount Olive for her funeral.